Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I like to talk about today a very important topic which is called detachment. So whenever we hear this word detachment, so it create some kind of fear in the people's mind that detachment means no relation with family or no relation with friends. So which is not true. So I like to talk about this topic detachment in detail. Before that, I'll do a short prayer. Om Bhakradanda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Devo Sarvakaryesu Sarvada Saraswati Namastabhyam Bharade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Kariswami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. So, what is the opposite of detachment? Opposite of detachment is basically attachment. So, we'll take some examples for attachment and detachment so that first we understand what it is, and then we'll talk about a little bit on family related attachment and detachment. Okay, so detachment, for that in Sanskrit there is a very nice word which is called vairagya. An attachment, when your mind is attached with something, and then you always expect some results, so that is kind of attachment. And detachment is you do something for people and you don't have any expectation in return, so that is a kind of thing. So I'll start with a small story. So what is to describe the point, what is attachment and detachment? So once in a forest, there was one sadhu who was living there, and he was doing his daily spiritual practices. And then and one king, one day he was uh, went to that forest for hunting, and he found that sadhu, and he's doing spiritual practices. And then the king happened to talk to the sadhu, and then king was very impressed by his talk and view of the world and all the things. Then uh, king thought, I will take I'll take knowledge from him, and I'll come to him regularly. So king started coming to him regularly, and finally he became disciple and started learning all the knowledge from him. And then slowly he started feeling that I am a king, and I live in a palace, and he is living in the forest with so much of pain and all. So he thought, okay, I'll build a palace next to my palace, so that my guru sadhu can live there happily without any trouble like what he's going through now. So he built a palace and requested sadhu to come and live. And then sadhu agreed, and then said, okay, no problem, I can go to your palace. Then sadhu started living there, and after some time, then king started thinking, okay, so now I am also living in palace, you are also living in palace. King is telling to sadhu that, so what is the difference between you and me? I also have knowledge, I learned from you, and I live in palace. You have knowledge, you also live in palace. So you both are same. So what do you think about this? The king asked sadhu. Sadhu said, well, that's a very nice question. Let's take a walk, and then I will explain you the difference. So Sadhu take him and started walking, and then started telling a lot of different things, different incident of his life and stories. So after some time, they realized that they came almost like 5-6 mile from the palace, and then king was saying, "Let's go back now. It is very long distance we came." No problem. Let's go a little more, and then we'll come back. Then Sadhu slowly entered into the forest with the king, and then walking. They're doing chit chat, talking and talking. By the time it is becoming like dark evening, they almost gone like 10 miles or so. And then Sadhu was saying that it is too late now, it's too dark also. Let us leave here today. Tomorrow we'll go back to palace. Then king started saying, how is that possible? People are waiting for me there. My kids, my family, and all the other people who depend on me, they all are waiting there. I have to go back. I cannot live like you. If you want to live, you live here, but I have to go back. Then Sadhu said, that is the difference. I was living in the palace, you are also living in the palace, but I came 10 kilometers away from the palace. I can stay here. If I don't go back, I have no problem. But you, you have to go back. So that is attachment. As I come without any difficulty in the jungle to live, so this is detachment. So that's what he explained the story, and king was understood. King understood, and he was kind of very happy about the knowing the difference between attachment and detachment. So there are many examples we can talk about this. Let's define what is attachment. So I'll talk about all these things related to family matter, family, friends. So attachment is love with condition or expectation, which is kind of common to everyone. Examples: I love him as he loves me and buys stuff for me. I love her as she is beautiful. I like my child when he eats food properly. I like my child when he listens to me. I like my child to eat jalebi because jalebi makes him happy, and in return I become happy. So these are all common thing what we notice all the time happening. So these are all little subtle, but they are still attachment. So what is detachment? Detachment is love without condition or expectation. So the detachment is something. If I tell you from the highest plane related to kid, then you see that your child has come to this world through you, but they are not your properties to use them the way you want. This should be the understanding. For child welfare development, you will provide facilities, whatever is needed, you give them. If needed, you will punish them, you will discipline them for their betterment. But your child is not a way to fulfill your unfinished dream. Your child is not a helping hand in your business. Your child gets the body from Panchabhut, food from earth, air, ether, space, and sound, etc. And soul is a part of God. So, what is your contribution in the child making? Everything is taken from the nature, and soul is part of the God. So, if you have that understanding, if you keep that understanding all the time in your mind that your child is not your property to or machine for you to use them whatever way you want, or you are not supposed to control them. So that is the understanding you should have. That is basically comes under detachment. Now let's look at physical level attachment and detachment. We see sometime twin joint baby born. They have two different head, but their body is joint. They go together, eat together, and sleep together. Everything is together. So, is that a very beautiful situation? What do you think? And then finally, they go for surgery to get separated. Surgery is needed to separate them so that they can work independently. If one falls behind, then other can pull him forward. If one falls in the pit, then other can pull him out. If one gets to eat, then other can sleep. So they can do better job if they are detached. If their body is together, then if one person want to sleep, other person doesn't want, then it's not going to work for them. So that is in the body level. In the mind level, if you see that if one is depressed, then other one can give comfort if other one is detached from the first one. And if first one is sad, then second one can make him happy. So if they are detached, they can do that. If they are attached, the one person is sad for some reason, other person is also sad. So that is that a good situation? What do you guys think? So that shows that attachment is a kind of problem, and detachment is advantageous and good for all of us. So that's what we see when we notice that a twin joint baby. That's why they finally do surgery to separate them. Now let's look at family where detachment at the mind level importance. Spouse and kids are your responsibility. You need to provide best for them, for their well-being. You need to make them happy for their happiness. You need to create happy environment in the house. You need to help your child for educational development, physical development, spiritual development, and character development. This was prescribed by Swami Vivekananda, 4 pillars for the children development: educational, physical, spiritual, and character. Your child or spouse is sad or depressed. You should be concerned, but you should not be sad along with them. That is detachment. If you are attached, then what happens? If one person is sick in the family, that one person will make all other people also sick. So who will pull them out of the misery? If you are detached, if you can keep your balance, then only you can keep them out of the misery. Otherwise, it is bad situation in a family if one person is sick and then all others are so attached, they also become sick along with them. The whole family is sick now. Or one person in a family is depressed and that person make all other people depressed, all the whole family is depressed. Now who is going to help that family? Sometimes the wrong expectation of love. One person is sick and he is expecting that his other family member also should be similarly sick, otherwise they don't love me. If one person is sad, if other family member is not sad, then they might think, oh, this person doesn't love me. That's the wrong expectation. Other person has to be balanced that time so that he can help the person who is sad. That should be the idea. That is detachment. So what is good? Attachment is good or detachment is good? Now you think. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. Indifference is like you don't care. Detachment does not mean you don't care about them. Detachment means you can care more for them. If you are attached, you will not be in a position to care for them. That's what is detachment. So detachment, you have to understand in a family situation, you have to be concerned if something bad happened in the family, somebody is sad or depressed, or somebody got upset on something. You should be concerned, you should be taking care of them, but you should not be depressed, sad along with them. That's what is important. You should be family people, child or spouse, everybody is with you. Your responsibility is to provide them whatever is needed, make them happy. But it doesn't mean that you control them and they become your helping hand for your own business. That's not the idea. So that needs a lot of understanding. All the time in your back of mind, you have to practice detachment to take care of your family in a better way. So how to be detached? We talked about attachment and detachment. We understand now that attachment is a problem. Detachment is the thing which we should practice so that we can be always in balance and we can take care of our family in a more better way. But now question comes, how we can be detached? What is the way to be detached? How I can learn about detachment? So to learn about detachment, it needs knowledge. Naturally, without knowledge, for somebody to become detached from the family, it is very hard. It needs understanding, it needs knowledge. So nowadays you will be hearing one word which is called emotional quotient. Emotional quotient is what? If you have detachment, then you will have higher emotional quotient. If you have higher emotional quotient, then you will be in balance. You will be able to take care of people around you in a more better way than if you are not having good emotional quotient. So nowadays people have so low emotional quotient. If something small bad happens, they get very upset. Sometimes they take lives. A lot of suicide cases nowadays happens because of low emotional balance. If everything is going good, no problem. All happy, then no problem. But small disturbance come, they cannot handle. If you practice detachment, if you have good emotional quotient and balance, no matter whatever happens to you, you'll be always you'll be able to fight back and come to better shape. That's why detachment is very, very important. Detachment only can increase your emotional quotient. So how to learn about detachment? You can read your engineering, your medical, all those subject, but it is hard to learn about detachment in the school or college. So that needs study of spiritual scriptures. You can do puja, meditation, Ashtanga yoga, be in a good association, spiritual satsang, spiritual sadhana, spiritual study. So these are the thing can give you the knowledge and understanding about detachment. And when you learn about detachment, you can apply in any area, any field. The example family I took because that is the most difficult thing. If you can practice detachment in the family, you will be able to practice that in your office with your friends, anybody else. And detachment is the way you can make your life better. People always, whenever people always hear this word detachment, they get a lot of misunderstanding. So detachment is something very beautiful. So detachment means unconditional love. Attachment means love with a lot of conditions. So now you decide which is better for you, and are you going to be that person who is detached. With that, I'll close. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.